This is Red Essay, Dispositions of an Urban Cherokee. My name's Brandon Caruso. I'm a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. Season 2 of Red Essay brings Native leaders from all over the country to share their insights, their work, and how to transcend just being a citizen of your tribe. It's a place where you too can find out the secrets to success in the worlds of community leadership, politics, academia, and much more. Honestly, it's got a lot of gems I think you're going to enjoy. So without further ado, enjoy Red Essay Season 2. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Red Essay. My name is Brandon Caruso. This week we're honored to have Tonya Armendariz. She's a Cherokee Nation citizen who is a board member for her satellite group out in Phoenix. She's also the leader and organizer for the Cherokee at-Large Leadership Network, or otherwise known as CallNet, who have had a big push in this last couple of years to organize the Cherokee at-Large satellite communities across the nation. They have a newsletter that I've been able to be a part of. And this week, Tonya and I will be discussing how to get more involved as an at-large citizen and the importance of networking, especially when you live outside of your tribe's jurisdiction as an at-large citizen. I'm really excited. So without further ado, here's Tonya Armendariz on networking.
I live in Phoenix, Arizona with my family, my 4 children and husband of 25 years. I've lived here all my life, and my family came to be here from Oklahoma. My great-grandmother was born in Tahlequah, and his father decided to sell their allotment and move when she was 6, and he had to come and look for employment, and ultimately they decided to settle in Phoenix and spent their time sort of acclimating. So I grew up, around my grandparents quite a bit and family, and was really fortunate to be able to connect that way with my heritage.
Okay, yeah. So how did you come to be connected with the at-large community that is based in Phoenix?
About 4 years ago, I would say, after doing quite a bit of research and just sort of my life stages, my nest became emptier. I had more and more time to, find out about my history and culture that my family was, raised with, of the Cherokee culture. And I went to Julia Coates's history class, which I very much enjoyed. I thought it was wonderfully presented and taught me a lot about, sort of the ancient history up till today for the nation. And at that point, she had helped Phoenix, kind of before I came onto the scene, form a group and had the nation come out for a picnic and just sort of launched Valley of the Sun Cherokees from there, kind of word of mouth. Really after that to fill the membership, and still struggling with that, keeping up membership.
Sure. I mean, that's an all across the board problem. Is how do you capture the attention after the initial first touch, say at a picnic, and how do you retain the attention of a group? And we find the age ranges really vary. But what do you guys do, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but what do you guys do to help with, bringing in those numbers and making sure they stick around?
We try to really capitalize on the annual picnics and make sure that we're capturing information, meeting people, inviting them to stay and to come back. Other than that, we started to take part in community things. We just had a float for the Native American Days parade. The Cherokees were well represented. We had a big float and then a booth at their medical, it's a Native Health medical organization. And they have, about 1,000, I think, people that come through. And I think, probably got 4 new members from that, but just really having a presence in our local community. We have 4,000 registered Cherokee citizens in Arizona. And so our mission right now is to make contact with them, invite them, include them in the organization.
Great. And so I know a few years ago you brought your community involvement to a national level. And can you talk about what decisions you made to, come to that point?
Yes, of course. I was elected, I think it was the first official election they had. They had an interim board. I ran for the first council elections, and I was elected. And during the course of my tenure with the board, I kind of was nominated to attend the CATA conference, and we'd already had 2 years of experience doing that. Harvey Yoakum had gone 1 year and Ron Collette another year, and they really enjoyed the conference. It was virtually a week long. They had a lot of cultural education, language education, and, got to see the history of the area and, meet a lot of people. By the time I went, I think it was their third year, it was down to about 36 hours, the meeting. And so, unfortunately, with the changes in administration, CATA at the time, which is now CCO, really had scaled down on what they were offering. Mm-hmm. And that was a really big disappointment to our group. We were looking forward to meeting other satellite groups and talking with them about commonalities and, issues that they faced, that we've faced, and really being able to network that way. And unfortunately, when I looked at our schedule, I realized that was not going to happen. We weren't going to have time for that, and it hadn't been scheduled in. So what we decided to do was to try and have some kind of a networking time carved out and be able to spend time with other organizations that we knew of. I just didn't really have time to do things on a grand scale, but other people that were, that we'd known from other groups. So we got together and talked about things and shared things and decided that we, as a group, needed to take things to the next level and organize some type of a formal way for the satellites to be able to communicate and share information. And so that's kind of how that was born. And
Great.
Now we have Cherokee at-Large Leadership Network.
Yeah, and I do remember that time where it was contracted to about what you said, 36 hours. Now, were you made aware of the reduction in meeting time at all by the Cherokee Nation?
Well, no. In fact, we didn't even get the schedule until the last minute. It was a very last-minute planned event anyway, but no, definitely not. I had no idea. I was very, very surprised at how much had been shaved off of that. It's really an unfortunate thing because the at-large people really make an effort to reach out and, learn as much as they can, and that's difficult to do in 36 hours. And I, representing Valley of the Sun Cherokees, felt that it was my responsibility, being the elected person, to go and bring back the things that would be most beneficial to my group. And I couldn't do that in 36 hours. So yes, that was quite a disappointment.
Sure. Right. Let's talk about CallNet a little bit. Cherokee at-Large Leadership Network and what it's been able to achieve, and we're at the beginning stages of maturing and branching out. And from what I've seen, it's been great. I mean, it's been this almost exponential growth, right, in the last couple of years. And can you talk about a little bit of the trials and tribulations to get to where we are with CallNet today?
Sure. Yes, it has been exponential growth, and I think we've all been pleasantly surprised at how far things, we've been able to organize and meet people the overwhelming response from the satellite organizations has been positive. We did have to go through the rigors that all organizations have to experience getting off the ground. And those are the tough times. That beginning is really the toughest time, writing bylaws, coming to agreements about all the particulars that you have to do to lay the groundwork for a successful organization. And so we struggled with that a bit. And finally, after a bunch of great brains, put a lot of thought into it, and blood and sweat and tears, we were able to come up with something that was very healthy. And so we are a board-operated organization. We don't have any other supervising organizations at all. So that's nice for us to be able to offer the help to people that we need to, and to be able to participate however we can. So early on, we met with some criticism, and I think everybody sort of struggles with social media, and we had our share of that. But so far, we've been able to rise above any negativity, and I think that's why our group has been successful.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think there would be any negativity at all?
Anything new is scary. Anything different, any change is scary for some people. And so I think the absence of information and just the fact that, the group didn't go through what many people would consider to be normal channels. In other words, the Cherokee Nation did not create, nor does it direct the organization. I think that's scary for people. Once they find out who we are and what we are, I think that'll improve. I think people will feel more comfortable with it. But change is difficult. And of course, Cherokees have never been known to be sheep. They are pretty opinionated. And so, we've struggled with that. But we've never participated in any mudslinging, or never actively participated at all, or responded to negative comments or criticisms. We really just kind of let those slide and try and let our record and our work speak for itself.
Yeah, great. And I find it a bit ironic, too, because initially these at-large communities were set up by the previous administration to eventually sustain themselves and run on them, really conduct their own business. And so I see CallNet as the next step in sustaining, the at-large communities, because really an organization such as CallNet will outlast any administration, right? Because inevitably your term is going to be up and there's going to be a lot of change, whereas CallNet will not have to be influenced by it.
We do absolutely maintain neutrality as far as administration. We have needed to stick together and be informed and work together to move forward and to maintain positive, healthy relationships with the nation and with one another. And I think we've done that.
And so what do you see for the future of CallNet? I mean, we have how many groups on board now?
I think we have 9 now, official. We have many supporters, and it's just a matter, I think for many of them, it's a matter of technicality. They have to meet with their boards or their councils and pass those things, pass the membership application, and they don't all meet very frequently. Phoenix meets twice a month, just the council, and then they also have their monthly gathering. So I know that not all organizations meet that often. So some of the lag time in more organizations being officially a part of CallNet is just trying to get through their sort of red tape, if you will. Takes a little while for them. Sure.
And I understand that we now have a 501c3 status, which is a nonprofit. Is that correct?
Well, we are completely incorporated. Our 501c3 status is pending. We have applied for it, but it's pending. We're, again, waiting for the government and some more red tape. But we'll get there, and we'll get there soon.
That's great. I can't wait. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Is there anything that you would like to leave the listener with?
I would just recommend that people, both at large and at home, stay informed and vote. Vote and vote often, and that's a really important thing. Every Native vote counts. So I would really recommend that people stay informed about their voting choices, and stay informed about the current issues that the Cherokee Nation in general is experiencing. I think also I would like to just remind people that great nations include all of their people and work toward being a great nation, not just with the few that live together in a short, small, rural area, but to remember that great nations include all of their citizens. And when it's 2/3 of a nation lives, global, that means that a great nation really has to work hard to remain a great nation and us a whole, a one fire. So please, everybody, vote, stay informed, and stay supportive.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tana. I really appreciate your time again, and I think everybody's going to enjoy this podcast and get something out of it. So I appreciate it.
I hope so. Thanks so much for doing this, Brandon.
And that's another episode of Red Essay. Big wado to Tonya, my fellow Cherokee at-large citizen. And I really appreciate our discussion. I think it's so important for someone to live outside of the Cherokee Nation, or to just live outside of your tribe, any tribe, and be as involved as somebody like Tonya is a huge accomplishment. It's definitely not easy to do, and I'm excited to see what happens with CallNet in the next year or two. I think it's going to get really big. I'll make sure to add the CallNet website below, so check that out. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Red Essay. My name is Brandon Caruso. Again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.